We're jamming it with Paint Your Body. So let's get started on this Toyota Camry. It's a pretty straightforward job. We got a brand new front bumper, a small repair to the front driver's side fender, and in this case we're going to blend the passenger side fender just to be safe with the color. Might as well. It's quicker to do that sometimes, and in this case it's quicker to do that than mess with the color and do spray outs and whatnot. So, but alright, so this is it's not a brand new Toyota Camry. It's fairly new. I want to say maybe a 2016. Honestly, I can't remember the year or the paint code right now. But either way, so this is a raw plastic bumper, or a bare plastic bumper. So there's no primer on this. This is right from the factory, and this is how this part came. So with this bumper, this was already Scotch brighted. Normally it's recommended, and you always use a gray Scotch Brite pad or scuff pad. I've developed a way that I like to do things, and to eliminate different steps or extra work or this or that. Alright, so I used a beat red Scotch Brite, or a red Scotch Brite or scuff pad that's been used 1 or 2 times, and lightly go over this bumper, and then I will clean this with wax and grease remover, water-based cleaner, everything. Get this thing ready in the spray booth, get it all set up so I could spray. And right now I'm using an adhesion primer for bare plastic, and it's okay to go over exactly how I prepped that bumper, but it's also okay right now I'm spraying it on the fender. Well, that's not bare plastic. Well, that's okay. It works like this as well. It's got a good prep surface. There's no shiny paint. It's been prepped very thoroughly. It's been cleaned, and it works. So I'm going to take care of the bumper with this primer, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover my area with that, and I'm going to continue on with the job. Alright, so that adhesion primer has been sitting for, I'm going to say, between 10 to 15 minutes. You just saw me, I touched the tape or the plastic adjacent to the panel, or right next to the area that I sprayed. And you got to do that. You got to make sure that it's dry, it's ready to go. You could tell visually by looking at it, does it have a gloss to it, or does it look flat or like a matte finish? That's a good indication that it's ready to go. So I'm tacking off the panel, getting it ready to go. You just saw just a little bit ago, opened up that tack cloth and opened it all up. I always do that. I said it in the last paint job, I think with the Tacoma. I always do it like that. That's how I was taught to do it. You don't want to use it right out of the package or fold it over, or just loosen it up and use it like that, and it actually works much better that way. I've tried it both ways, and that way it works much better. Alright, so anyways, right now I'm going to spray an adhesion promoter on here, and again, that's going to help with the adhesion, which shouldn't be a problem because you can tell by looking at these panels there's no shiny paint on these. These have been completely thoroughly prepped. But the adhesion promoter is going to act as a wet bed, I guess you could say. That's going to help me with my blends, so everything lays out evenly. You don't see anything weird going on with the metallic or any marks from prepping it. So that's why I do it like that. Alright, so now this is the first coat of base. This bumper has not been sprayed with adhesion promoter, just the adhesion primer. So, but at this point, this bumper has probably been sitting and drying or curing for at least 20-30 minutes now. So it's ready to get the base coat right away. So I'm going to start with that, and we're going to do a first coat of base on here. not very wet, but try to get some good coverage on it. And you know, with this bumper, it's got some curves to it and whatnot, so you want to make sure you're angling the spray gun and you're getting that spray pattern and that fan and the color and the angles that you want. You know, this is one of those type things, you finish the job without checking it, or you just go about this paint job and you're spraying and spraying and spraying. Okay, I got my 3 coats, my 3 or 4 coats, 2, 3, 4, whatever. You know, you clear coat it, you bring it outside, and you see light spots, or you see the sealer or something through the base coat. So, you know, it's important with the contours and the angles. You want to make sure you get in there and you get the color in there, because that's going to be a tough spot. And you definitely don't want to have to go back and fix something like that. And this right now, this is the blend fender. There's nothing wrong with this fender at all. This fender is in excellent shape, but I'm going to blend this. You know, the color was really close, but to me, not close enough that I felt comfortable with just spraying and blending this fender and then spraying the bumper. You know, then we'll put the bumper on the car, look around the other side. Oh, you know, it looks a little different over here. So, you know, in this case, instead of messing around trying to tint the color, wasting time, you know, the 10-15 minutes it took to prep the fender and the 10 minutes it took to tape it off, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it. Less stress. You know, the color is going to match. It's going to look great. There's no problems. The car gets put together. It, you know, it gets cleaned up. It gets picked up by the customer, and everybody's happy, and there's no problem. So, you know, you want to work smarter, not harder. So I did want to put this out there. You know, I narrate these videos after I spray. You know, I do that because I'm wearing the paint mask, the respirator, the spray mask, you know, whatever you want to call it. And you can hear me while I'm doing it like that. You know, I've tried it, but, you know, I just feel like, you know, it's more clear and easy to understand me without the background noise of the spray gun, the spray booth, and having the mask over my face, and to hear like a muffled sound and, you know, oh, what did he say? What did he say? So, you know, it's more important for me to get you the information and my thoughts right now as I'm watching this, and, you know, putting out the information there and, you know, clearly. So, you know, if you're watching this and you're trying to learn something, or just trying to see how somebody does it, or whatever the case, you know, I want you to be able to know what I'm saying and have it be clear. So, you know, just putting it out there that I do wear a spray mask. When I clean my spray guns, I wear gloves. You know, I try to be as clean and safe as possible. You know, so right now I am wearing a spray mask, if anybody's wondering. You know, if any questions like that, so... Alright, and let me spend about 20 minutes here fixing the air hose, and I swear in this video I spend more time working on this air hose than I do painting the car. You know, I'm messing around with the hose right now. I could have left it and dragged it around, but I'll be honest, that annoys me more than anything. When the hose is getting stuck or caught on things, you know, you don't want to drag it through the fender or anything else that you've painted. It's just, it's a pain, trust me. So, you know, here we go. We got to do a whole segment on straightening out an air hose. You know, maybe we'll make a separate video on straightening out air hoses. But, you know, this is the hose I'm working with, and this is what I'm doing, so... give these panels a look over. How we looking? Check my watch. We're doing okay. It's had a good amount of time to flash. From what I remember, I'm using a quicker reducer in this. I want to say a mid-temp reducer. And the heat's on in the booth. It's colder out now. So, I have the heat on in the booth. But because I'm doing a smaller area on each panel, I don't need a very slow reducer. I don't want a fast reducer either. I don't want to try and too fast and then, the metallic and the base coat and everything's drying all weird and you can tell. So you want to go slow enough that, it's not slow, but slow enough that it's fast enough to get this done without, adversely affecting your paint job. You want good results. You want to go fast, but not so fast that you have a problem or that you have to stop and bring in the wet sand bucket or, well, I got to fix this, or why does it look like this? Oh. I had to have a visit. I love it. I love getting visits. I decided to speed through this because, every now and then there's some information that needs to be brought to my attention. And that's how it is, and that's what life's like, so that's what happens for me, and that's how we do it. And I got my information, and we moved on. So that I decided to speed through that and spare everybody from the boringness. Alright, so we got our 3 coats of base, blending out the base coat, getting the coverage we want. It had time to flash or dry in between coats. Rule of thumb, maybe 10 minutes or so. I've said in a previous or prior video or videos that, I don't necessarily go by a time, but I check it as I go, and that's how I base it. So either way, it's ready to clear coat, and yeah, let's do it. Let's get this clear on here. So for my sealer gun, I'm using the Techno Primer with a 1.4 tip. I can't recall the air cap on there, but it's the 1.4. For base coat, it's the Techno Pro Light with a 1.4. And right now I'm using the Techno Clear Coat with the 1.3, and I believe the TE25 air cap, the high efficiency. This gun really puts out the clear. It does an excellent job. The fan is so even, and it just puts it out there so heavy, so quick, and you gotta move. I mean, it depends on the clear coat you're using, but you need to be mindful. Before this I was using an Iwata LPH 400 with a 1.3, which still sprays beautifully. I decided, let me try this gun out, let me get this. And, I made the switch, and I don't regret it. I love this gun. It sprays different than the Iwata, and I still love the Iwata. I would pick that up any day and use that and be happy with it. But I decided, let me get a new gun, let me try this out, and I'm really happy with this gun. It sprays beautifully, even, nice and smooth. But depending on the clear you're working with, you have to adjust and do what you need to do to get the finish that you're looking to get. So, alright, so this clear, again, it probably sat for about 10-15 minutes, somewhere around there. And now I'm going to put the second coat on, and I'm going to put this on heavier, a little wetter, being mindful of how the clear coat's laying out on the bumper. We're not looking for a glass finish. This isn't a show car. We're not buffing this thing until it's completely flat. You're going to have a little bit of texture. That's okay. I'm not talking orange peel. I'm talking, you're going to see a little texture in the clear. If you have a completely glass smooth fender or bumper or whatever, I mean, good for you. You're an amazing person at spraying clear coat flat and smooth as glass. But most cars have some sort of a texture, and the goal is to match that texture. And Toyota has a fairly smooth finish. It's not a show car or anything, but that's what I want to match. Anybody that knows, has been spraying for years or recognizes finishes, the older Hyundais and Kias had pretty dry finishes or like a tight orange peel to it. Anyway, a tight texture, and you would want to match that. You go and put a full wet coat on, and the fender and the bumper and the other fender is really smooth, but the rest of the car has a tight peel to it or a tight texture. It's going to be obvious that that was repaired or that was repainted or fixed. So, you want to keep that in mind. It is important if you're trying to duplicate a factory look. So all the way to the end of the fender. On the first coat of clear, I rarely go to the edge of the panel. I'm avoiding the swimming pool effect or the deepening effect, that could make that fender or that door or whatever panel look darker than the rest of the job. So that's why I do it the way I do it. I had to cut out just a second ago. I ran out of clear, so I went in the mixing room. I mixed up another 3 or 4 ounces, somewhere around there. I don't know. I mixed up a small amount of clear to finish this fender, and that's all right because this fender isn't butting up against anything else that we're painting. We're not going to have anything drying out quicker because I painted it and I had to run away and mix some clear. So it's really not a big deal in this case. So that's why I cut in and out there, mixed up a little more clear to do this fender. So the bumper, the fenders, they all have 2 coats of clear on them. And at this stage of the game, I'm done. And I'm going to give it a quick look over and either approve or disapprove of my job. And I'm going to approve because the color looks blended out really well. The color is really good. The clear coat looks amazing, and I'm happy with it. And alright, so right there, sometimes you got some gaskets or trim or something that's close up, and if it doesn't get removed, you have to tape it well. I use 1/4 inch masking tape, and that's it.